which you probably may know about, which runs in Exeter every year, every spring, or winter, I guess, February. Excuse me. And they got in touch with me last year and asked if I would write a story which was going to be used sort of as a springboard, really. It was a springboard for local schools could use it to take part in an animation festival, kind of using my story as a basis. And there was also a game which took place around the streets of Exeter, a live action game, which again sort of sprang off from my story. I didn't really have any connection with the game itself, but I just kind of wrote the best story I could manage in the word count and time scale available to me.
It was very good. It was all about time leakage.
It was kind of about, yes, the history of Exeter is leaking into the modern day. So little kind of cameos of Exeter's past pop up all over the city, and there's a boy whose job it is, he discovers, to kind of put things right.
And it's a really good read. It's quite a small little book.
It is. It's tiny. It's lovely. They've done a really nice job on the production of it, and it's only available in Exeter, Waterstones, over by the Cathedral Yard, and in the Cathedral Bookshop as well.
Is there a limited print run?
Yes, I think it was about. I'm not even sure what the limited print run was, but yeah, there are not that many.
I think it might be 500.
I think it might have been 500.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you want that book, best to get it. Let's go back in time a little bit, Philip, because when I was researching, I didn't have to do much research for that, but you're an illustrator.
Yeah, well,
you're a very good illustrator.
Well, I started out as an illustrator. Yeah.
But I'm just wondering what came first, illustration or writing?
Well, I guess I've always written and I've always drawn right back to when I was kind of 5 or 6 or something. As far back as I can remember, I've always done both. Yeah. And when I got to that sort of age of like 12, 13, when people start asking you what you're going to do when you leave school, it seemed highly unlikely that anybody was going to pay me for my writing. So I thought, oh, well, I could do the pictures, I could be an illustrator. So I went off down that path and went to art college and eventually became an illustrator. And it was only once I was established as an illustrator that I started kind of seriously thinking, well, I kind of like writing as well. It would be nice to have my name on the book as the author. So that's when I sat down and wrote Mortal Engines.
So that was your first book?
That was my well, certainly the first thing I'd ever sent to a publisher.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you kind of have other ideas before Mortal Engines? You writing lots of ideas, thinking, oh, that would be a good novel, or no, it won't be.
Well, I'd kind of been. I suppose I sort of wrote kind of my first full-length novel when I was about 14 or something. It wasn't good. It was a kind of Lord of the Rings knockoff of some sort, and then I kind of kept on doing that. And I never really kind of hit on an idea that I thought was interesting enough to make it my own until I came up with Mortal Engines. So I kind of tinkered with other stuff.
Mortal Engines won an award. Oh, many actually.
A couple. Yeah.
Wasn't it the Nestle?
The Smarties, Nestle Smarties, and. Oh no, I think that was it for Mortal Engines, but then the fourth one in that series won the Guardian Fiction Prize.
It did, yeah. So how did that feel, winning an award for the first set of novels you've ever written in your life?
Well, it felt very... Oh, Blue Peter. No, Mortal Engines was online. Mortal Engines won the Blue Peter, which was quite good for it, because I got on telly and stuff, and that raises your profile enormously. Well, it felt like I'd never written a book before, so I just thought that's what happened, really. It got published and you got awards.
Yeah, I suppose you're not thinking about
it. By the time it was up for the awards, because it takes like a year or something for the shortlists and things to be made up. By the time I was kind of going to get awards, I was kind of in the middle of writing the second one, which was hellish and no easier at all than doing the first one. So I wasn't really interested in getting awards for the first one. I was just thinking, oh no, this is really embarrassing because I'm never going to be able to write another novel. All this expectation building up.
For people who probably don't know what Mortal Engines is about, which I'm sure everybody does, but if they don't, how would you kind of encapsulate that?
Well, it's I just set out to write a kind of a. I think long before I had the actual idea that it's based on, I wanted to write a kind of a big, sprawly adventure story, a fantasy, science fiction adventure story, the sort of thing that I liked when I was growing up, really. I wasn't thinking of it as a children's book particularly, but I was thinking back to all the stuff like Star Wars and Mad Max and Lord of the Rings, I suppose, that I loved when I was growing up. And it's set in a distant future, a future so distant that there isn't really any obvious connection to our world at all. Our civilization is kind of forgotten, and this new civilization has arisen in which the cities move about their vehicles. So London has been rebuilt with this massive sort of ziggurat on top of a bank of caterpillar tracks. It trundles around the world. And the reason it trundles around the world, of course, is so that it can catch and eat smaller and slower moving towns and cities. It's a kind of food chain. It's called municipal Darwinism, is the system by which this world works. And the big fast cities catch and eat, well, when I say eat, they kind of dismantle and take all the bits and raw materials and make themselves bigger and stronger. So
that made me laugh the first time I read it.
Oh, good, yeah. Well, it made me laugh the first time I thought of it, and I don't know where it came from at all. This whole business of them meeting each other and the moving cities indeed, I'm not sure where it actually came from, but I'm glad it did, because I kind of lived off it quite nicely for about 10 years. So it was a good idea.
Well, that's the question I was going to ask, where it came from, but if you don't know.
Well, I think, it was while I was drawing full time, and I was a cartoonist. My illustrations were very much cartoony. I used to work for Horrible Histories and things like that. So I think probably the moving city started as a doodle. I think I just started doodling a city and then put wheels on the bottom because I didn't know what else to do with it. And thought, oh, I could tell a story in that. You know, that's a nice big structure, and it's got, you know, it's very obviously sort of stratified in class level. So the rich people live up at the top where the air is clean and the views change every day, and all the poor people are down at the bottom, kind of shoveling poo and getting coal into the furnaces and stuff. And I thought that, you know, immediately there's a sort of a Dickensian kind of story there, where you get some rich people discovering terrible secrets about themselves and moving down to the lower depths and all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of what started me down that road. I think it's a cartoon. It's kind of visual.
I was going to say it's like a graphic novel. Every little graphic novel gives me that image very quickly. When I was reading, it's a very visual book. It's a lovely description.
I used to make movies as well, in a very small way. Well, sort of from my teens through to my 20s, really. But this was before the era of video and uploading things to YouTube and stuff. So I was literally making films. I was making one Super 8 City film, editing them together with tape in my living room. And so Mortal Engines is very much the kind of huge action movie I would have made if somebody had not up and given me $1 million.
Talking of which, there has been rumours about Peter Jackson being interested. It's on the internet. I'm just wondering, is there any truth on it?
Well, the first rule of flogging your book to sinister Hollywood organisations is never talk about flogging your book to sinister Hollywood organisations. So, no, I don't. I mean, there are all manner of rumours on the internet, and there's nothing. I've heard actually nothing about this for 5 or 6 years now. So I'm assuming that any chance of the film is dead and buried. But I don't know. You know,
it would make a great anime.
I guess it would, yeah. I mean, when I wrote it, I've never seen any Miyazaki films. And then people kept going, oh, you must have seen loads of Miyazaki films. So I went and had a look at one and I thought, oh yeah, actually, I've sort of nicked his whole shtick without actually realising it. Because it was news to me. But no, that would be lovely.
One more thing I want to mention as we move on.
No, I'm just looking for Simon. Oh, is he? Oh, fair enough. Simon won't be there. Simon, really.
I'll tell you what it was. We had our Pilverton staff come on.
Oh, okay.
And then steampunk. And I thought, well, I'll put you together because it's a steampunk novel, right? When I was talking to you, he said, steampunk, is that right?
Well, I can see why people who like steampunk would like Mortal Engines. Yes, you know, so it's right up their street. I can understand that. But I don't think I'd heard the word steampunk when I wrote it. I wasn't really aware of that as a genre. I think the thing is, when I was growing up, if you think back to sort of British children's culture in the 70s, it was full of these kind of odd little Victorian inventions. It probably comes from Keith Robinson or somebody, but there's this thing about Victorian contraptions and this idea of sort of vaguely Victorian characters still surviving in the modern age. I mean, Doctor Who is like that. You think of all the old Doctor Whos, they're all sort of in these vaguely Edwardian costumes. And things like the clangers are full of contraptions, and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and stuff like that. These mad inventors knocking things together with bicycle wheels and stuff. And Jules Verne and stuff. Yeah, which I suppose I read as a child, H.G. Wells. But I was really thinking, when I was writing Mortal Engines, I was thinking I wanted to put that kind of clangers aesthetic together with the kind of the big action movie stuff. And I thought, oh, that might be something kind of interesting. So that's really where it comes from. So I think this sort of kind of Victorian contraptionism is something that long predates steampunk, and that's very much more where I come from. Whereas I think steampunk is, I don't really know, but it seems to me to be an American thing that has arrived quite recently and kind of mopped up all our traditional English Victorian
Actually,
nonsense.
I really don't know. It's taken off. I mean, there were a whole bunch of bands last night in Stevenham Campus doing their thing, and maybe it was you that started it off.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, let's leave Mortal Engines behind and move on to these guys.
Oh, yes.
I absolutely love this cover. Did you design
No,
it?
I didn't. No,
You didn't?
No, this is... no, I don't get to design my own covers. I don't
You're
know.
illustrator.
I know. Well, no, I read this. I shouldn't. You know, publishers have their own agendas, obviously, and reasons for doing what they do. But when I first suggested this book to my editor, I said, oh yeah, and I was thinking, I'm going to write this book about goblins, and I was thinking I'd illustrate it. You know, sort of, I've never actually written the book and illustrated it. And she said, oh yes, that would be a really good idea. That's a very strong selling point, saying you'll write and illustrate. That'd be excellent. So I went away and wrote the book, and came back and delivered it, and said, well, when shall I start the illustrations? And I went, oh no, I don't think